I'm not full of shit. You can take everything I took. You will probably still look like shit. You'll just look like a bigger piece of shit. Coach Greg, and today's video is about Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth is going to be playing Hulk Hogan. Is he natty though? Is Chris Hemsworth natural? Was he natural? Is he going to be natural? Of course he's not natural. Are you kidding me? People have asked me, hundreds of people have asked me, Chris Hemsworth natty or no? Chris Hemsworth natty or no? I'll get to it someday. Well, I woke up this morning, put on Simon Miller's video talking about Hulk Hogan. I was like, oh, that sounds great. I want to do a video about this. Yeah, we get video ideas from other YouTubers. We do. Am I copying his video? Maybe I copied his video. Whatever, I don't care.
When you live by the buck, brother, you'll die by the buck.
I'm gonna do a video because I want to do a video about Chris Hemsworth. I want to compare him to different things, talk about him, see what you think. When I grew up, Hulk Hogan was my hero. Hulk Hogan, hero of Greg Doucette. Loved freaking Hulk Hogan. Thought he was natural. Thought he took his vitamins and said prayers and stuff like that. He was like 6'8", 300 pounds or something like that. Maybe they exaggerated his height and weight a little bit, but I know when I saw him in person, he was freaking massive. When I saw Andre the Giant, I was like, oh my God, there's people that are this big? People are as big as Andre the Giant? Shocking. When I met Zeus in person, I was like, what? People are that tall, that big? I couldn't believe it. Andre the Giant, all these wrestlers were bigger than belief. Chris Hemsworth, is he big? Yeah, he's pretty tall. He's taller than Coach Greg. He's not a manlet. Was he big in THOR? Yeah, pretty big.
You're big. Fought bigger.
For a normal guy, I don't know if he's like 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", something. He's over 6 feet. He's over 200 pounds, I think. He's got muscles. He's not natty. I mean, come on, what do you think? Oh, he ate chicken breast, protein shakes, probably some rice, threw in some broccoli or tilapia, probably. Let me guess. He ate that 8 meals a day and trained for 4 hours, did that for 6 months and put on 20, 30, or 40 pounds of muscle.
I was just too thick anyway, you know. It was sort of, basically Ken said, you know, it's good, you've got the size there, and let's just sort of try and pull it back just a little bit.
That's how all the Hollywood actors do it. They just train really hard, hire a professional trainer.
I changed my programs from sort of, heavy weightlifting to more sort of cardio, sort of, CrossFit style things.
Do that for 4 to 6 months and transform from a normal guy to a superhero. They don't talk about the special vitamins. Hulk Hogan, he never talked about the special vitamins.
Say your prayers, eat your vitamins.
Do you think any of the wrestlers were natural? Maybe a few. Certainly the majority of wrestlers, professional wrestlers, are not natural. So you expect a Hollywood actor to come out and portray that role while being natural? Do I care if Chris Hemsworth is natural or not? No, of course I don't care if he is. He can do whatever he wants with his own body as long as he doesn't break the law. Why should we care? What do I think about him remaining silent about it? You think he's going to come out and say, hey guys, I'm on that there HRT, growth hormone, and Deca, and Vanavar, and MK677 is all prescribed by my doctor. Nope, he's not going to say it. The movies, they don't allow you to say that. They're not just going to say, sure, admit all the stuff you're taking to put on what is probably going to need to be 40, 50, or more pounds to even get halfway to looking like Hulk Hogan. Are you freaking kidding me? I trained my whole life. I'm a professional bodybuilder. I have really good genetics, and I don't look like Hulk Hogan. And no, it's not because my hair is dark. I could put a wig on, I could go on stilts, and I still don't look like Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is massive. He's freaking huge. But guess what? I don't actually care or think that he needs to be quite as big as Hulk Hogan to play that role. He doesn't need to be as huge as Hogan. Halfway is good enough. Let's say he's 6'3", and he gets to 230 pounds. That's pretty freaking big. That's big enough. He doesn't need to be 6'8" and 300 pounds. Hulk Hogan looks like a professional bodybuilder in the off-season. In fact, he's way bigger than most professional bodybuilders, considering his height and the muscle that he has. He has a lot of lean tissue. He doesn't have the shape of a pro bodybuilder, but he certainly has that kind of a muscle mass. And who's going to play his role? Somebody that needs to be able to act. Chris Hemsworth is a good actor. He can act. Now, guess what? When he's standing next to a guy like Greg, 5'6", and he's 6'3", let's say, he's going to tower over me. So the directors are not morons. They're going to hire shorter, smaller actors that he can wrestle against to make him look big and imposing. He will look big, not as big as Hulk Hogan, but big enough. Consider this, Robert Patterson. He's the anti-Chris Hemsworth. I'm not going to even train to look like Batman. You think Robert Patterson's on PDs? Nope. He's not even going to train to look like Batman at all. I don't care. I'm not doing it. I don't want to. Do you need to look like the part you're playing to portray that part? To an extent. You have to be halfway there. I can't play a teenage ballerina female. It would just kind of look wrong. Okay, it makes sense. I can't play Michael Jordan because I'm just too short and I'm white. It would just be weird. Okay, I'm not Michael Jordan. If I was 6'5" and could play basketball a little bit, maybe I could do it. I could try, but at my height would just look silly. Chris Hemsworth, kind of tallish, decent muscle. He's clearly done PDs in his past. I'm only 99.9999% sure there's a chance he's natural and yeah, maybe, whatever. Also, CGI in movies, that exists. They can make his arm look more jacked, even while moving. Technology is so advanced now, you can look more huge. I should hire somebody, some videographer, and jack up my shoulders, get me some more muscle mass, make me looking better. If you got enough money, you can do it. Movies do this. Think of other actors who played roles. Lou Ferrigno, I think he's about 6'5" and massive. He played the Incredible Hulk. He did a pretty good job. Back in the old days, Incredible Hulk. Was he as big as the actual Incredible Hulk? He's freaking ginormous. Lou Ferrigno looks like a twig next to the real Incredible Hulk. But Lou Ferrigno played the Incredible Hulk, and he did a good job of it. What's wrong with that? So I think Chris Hemsworth can play Hulk Hogan. He won't be as big, but he's going to look great, and he's a good actor. I can't wait to see the movie, because as I said, I love wrestling, and Hulk Hogan, one of my heroes from my childhood. What is Chris Hemsworth going to do? Well, he's going to eat a bunch of chicken breasts and rice, probably broccoli, probably 6 to 8 times a day, and he's probably going to train, 4 hours a day, probably with a personal trainer, and he's going to eat and gain all this muscle, and people are going to see the before and afters and be like, oh man, he had such a good trainer, and the trainer's going to take all the credit for it and be like, yeah, I trained him real good. They're not going to talk about what they're truly taking. That's the only part I don't like. I at least want people to know. This is not done naturally. You can't just take a physique and improve that much without PDs. Even with PDs, it's very challenging. Most people will not make those kind of gains. Brian, a professional wrestler, said, Chris looks like a normal guy and looks similar to Brad Pitt in that 2004 movie Troy. I don't know what kind of normal guys Brian's looking at, but last I looked, Chris Hemsworth does not look like your typical man, and neither does Brad freaking Pitt. Typical normal? No, they're freaking above average, way above average. Brad Pitt's 9.9 Richter scale good looking, and so is Chris Hemsworth, and they have bodies that people dream of. Are you kidding me? You can't take an above average normal built man and train hard for 6 months and put on 40, 50, 60 pounds of muscle. No. Look at that T-View guy, the gamer. He's basically like, yeah, I put on like 30 pounds of muscle in 6 months, but like if I had taken steroids, it probably would have been more like 50 or 60 pounds. He literally said that. He thinks he would have gained 50 pounds of muscle with steroids. When 30 is ridiculous. 30 is ridiculous. It took me 10 years of hard and smart training with good genetics to put on 30 pounds of muscle. So what makes you think a Hollywood actor is gonna do it in 6 months? You think all these Hollywood actors just have way better genetics than freaking Coach Greg? Than other bodybuilders? No. Even with PEDs, it's hard and challenging. And most of the time, it's not all muscle. There's a lot of fat and water that they don't talk about. So Chris is gonna have to gain, I'm gonna say 50 freaking pounds to really look like Hulk Hogan of muscle. And that is not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. It's not realistic. Don't expect it. Even with PEDs, he'll be lucky to gain 20 to 30 pounds of muscle. If he was natural, let's play the other side of the spectrum. Let me play the opposite. What the hell is the word for this? Let me play the opposite of let me play devil's advocate, only it's not the devil's advocate, it's the angel's advocate, that he's innocent angel and doesn't do anything bad ever. And he's all natural, he's all natty. In 6 months training, training for the role of Hulk Hogan, he could probably, with really good genetics, maybe gain 5 to 10 pounds of muscle if he's like a freak. Oh my goodness gracious. Maybe he could gain 10 pounds of muscle. If he has really good genetics, freaky genetics, he could put 10 pounds on. So do you think he's going to gain 30 to 50 pounds? No, nobody can gain 30, 50 pounds of muscle natural. Chris Hemsworth literally said this. As you can imagine, the role will be insanely physical. I will have to put on more size than I have before, even more than I put on for Thor. He's going to not only have to train, you have to train with weights, obviously. More than that, he has to train to wrestle. You think it's easy to just wrestle? Wrestling's fake, Coach Greg. It's easy, you just show up. It's fake in that they know who's going to win or lose in advance. It's fake in that they're not punching as hard as they could and trying not to hurt the person. But it's freaking real when you have to pick someone up and body slam them on the ground. It's real when you jump in the air and give them the leg drop. You're jumping and landing, and you have to do that properly. You can't just hurt the other guy. You have to learn how to do this. There's a lot of freaking work on that. Chris said, when I was training for Thor, it was purely eating, working out, trying to sleep as much as you can. So the difference in training for this role, he's gonna have to eat even more because he has to get even bigger. He's gonna have to take even more PEDs, and he's gonna have to train even harder. There's more physicality than there was in Thor, okay? Lifting people in the ring when it's just you in person, it's only so much you can do. You have to be able to do these skills on your own. Very, very challenging. He's basically having to go all in to be a wrestler. Kind of like Mickey Rourke did when he played a wrestler. Very good movie, very good job. Mickey Rourke, in fact, kind of admitted that he took something. They were basically asked him, hey, Mickey Rourke, you natty? Basically said, hey, I just do what all the wrestlers do. That's basically what he said. Not natural, of course he's not natural. These guys can't just admit these things. And Thor said, I will have to do a deep dive into the rabbit hole of the wrestling world, which I'm looking forward to. Maybe that's code for I'm gonna go and do whatever they do. Don't get your hopes up. Anabolics don't work as well as you think. Yes, of course they work well, but not as much as you think. And from coaching many, many, many people, I can tell you that most people are kind of disappointed with how much they actually work. They expected it to be better than they thought. People think, oh, I'm only on HRT. Look at Coach Greg. I'm on HRT. Literally, I'm on HRT. And look at this. Look, see? Not bad, right? Not bad. Not bad. I admit it, it's not bad. If you do what I'm doing, you're probably going to look like poop. If you do what I used to do, you know, you can look back at my old cycles, they're there. You do the craziest cycle I've ever done, you're probably gonna look like poop. I'm not full of shit. You can take everything I took, you will probably still look like shit. You'll just look like a bigger piece of shit. Whatever you look like now, add a little bit of size, and that's what you look like. It's not gonna be, oh my God, I look like Hulk Hogan now. Oh my God, I look like Brad Pitt. Oh my God, I look like Chris Hemsworth. No, you're gonna look like you, only bigger version of you. You're not gonna have a six-pack. It's not a freaking fat burner. You can't eat what you want. It doesn't make you put the fork down. It doesn't do cardio for you, unlike what everyone seems to think. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette IP Pro. Follow me on Instagram. Lots of stuff going on there. Blooping up 2 videos. Make sure you watch these. And until next time, I am out.